The XP35 started doing sub-assemblies, and I wanted to show everyone I know it's upside down, but this is the YB35 because it's got the single props, and I am going to be building the XB35, which has got the dual propellers. So I'm just basically working along. I did get all the props built. I'm just going to let them dry. Got to go back in and clean up some of the flash that I cut off. Speaking of that, I had to retire my Model Master snips. The handles were coming off and it just wasn't, they were getting dull, and so I had to go and get me a Xuron pair. And it's just like, it's just not the same like my old ones that I've had for over 10 years. I mean, just a new tool and everything, but they do work. I ain't complaining, and I just I really needed them. Started sub-assembling the wings there. Got them clamped, and I'll probably need to put a little touch of glue on the seams just to get them good and secure. And I'm just going on and just sub-assembling everything for the parts to hold the propellers, and then basically I can get the cockpit painted and get the interior painted, or the inside of the plane, and then I can start getting it assembled. I went to O'Reilly's because they have duplicolor, and I noticed that their paint's dwindling, and they didn't have my metallic, the one I would like to paint aluminum aircraft with. So I went ahead and decided to go this route. This is a Supermax Krylon silver metallic, so it should be almost the same. Plus I'll add a little some shading to it the way I do aluminum aircraft, and should be ready to rock and roll. And this is what I like. I don't decant it. I just basically use it for large aircrafts because I just don't want to, you know, take a little bottle this big and put you know, spray the entire model when you can just do it in one coat from a can. So that is where I stand on the XB. The Colonial one. I did get the, I got almost all the decals on. I'm going to leave a couple of them off because I just don't really care for them. I think it's more overdone on decals. I went with the Eversun version, which that was later on in the show instead of the Intersun, which is at the very beginning. It won't have a seal on it because I'm going to basically do a Colonial Heavy 727 or something, just some weird number. Decals going good. They're not thick or thin. They're not brittle at all. They do need a little setting solution, so I like to use Microsol here, and it just makes everything snuggle down into all the textured hole here. And these decals right here, they want to overlap, and I couldn't get them to overlap. I either put them on wrong, or there's just a very little gap at that, you know, just tiny. And all I did was take dark Persian blue here, and which matches the decal color, and just paint it on, and there you have it. I got to trim a little bit of the decal and put a little more setting solution in, just to get everything to sink down where it should be. But it is almost done, and I can shoot a clear coat on, and then go in with the airbrush with some inks and just touch up the you know, blend the weathering with the decals, and I'll be done, and this will be ready to make a trip to the hobby store, so see if they can sell some units. I'll get to the tank in a minute. The Eaglemoss, basically got the NX styrene struts painted. I'll go back in with either I want to say magic marker, not a magic marker, but an ink pen, or a Sharpie pen, and I'll add in all the detail here best I can for a small area. And I've almost got the paint matched. It's a little dark on a couple sides here, but I'm trying to get the paint matched up to look like the rest of the ship. As you can see, I'm trying to get the name took off, and then I'll add a little just some little random squares just to break up the monotony and where it'll look like the name is hidden. But these are almost done. And then Willard, I had to make a parts box for your stuff. I couldn't keep it separate in the sack, so I want to go do it this way. Next one we're going to build is the Korolev class, if I understood it correctly. It's basically this, and the nacelles are basically underneath the hull, something like that. And I'll show everybody once I get a little farther along. So I'm going to start that very soon, and I'm going to try to finish off getting them getting the NX 4-engine NX painted today. So that is where I got on that. The tank, and that's a 35th scale Italeri Elephant, and I wanted to do this since I actually built a couple of these many years ago and basically sold them. But I wanted to make a vacuum form kit of the Ram Tiger. And if you Google all that up, it's basically a late war ram in the buildings. I think it's one of the coolest tanks on the deal. So decided to go ahead and build the plug. And it is taking shape. And I wanted to mention this because if there's anything people want built in YouTube land, as in conversions or kits or whatnot, leave a in the comments. You know, I'm just throwing it out there. There might be something I ain't thought of, something that people really would like to see a conversion kit for. So leave that in the comments, and we'll see what happens. A little tool tip for today: if you go into the scrapbooking, you can find these are like leaf punches, if you will, and they don't make any 35th scale ones. I haven't found any smaller, but these can be for like 120 millimeter, 1/16 scale, 1/20th, and you can make leaves just out of paper and paint, and that's kind of what I want to do with the Stormtrooper. But I will show you all how that works out in about a couple days, and show you some tricks on that. So look in the scrapbooking when you're out and about. Always tools for modeling. So that's what I got going on today. We got the Eaglemoss. I'm going to start a new Eaglemoss. We got some tools. Starting the Ram Tiger for a future conversion kit. Working my way on finishing the Colonial one and plugging along on the XB35, so stay tuned for the next exciting episode.